Hey everyone, I'm the developer of D1Wish and lately I've been working hard to make 3 new enemies for our game, Wishlist Now on Steam. So, today I'll tell you how it was. It all started with thinking about the appearance and behavior of enemies. We already made this tropical arena, so we decided to come up with the appropriate enemies. The first thing that came to mind was a crab, and our modeler got to work, and after some time he made this cool model with amazing animation. He also created an animation blueprint for it, in short a thing that helps to conveniently switch animations and does not allow several animations to run simultaneously. Now my work begins. I need to write a behavior for it. Unreal Engine has a convenient tool for this called Behavior Tree. It is somewhat similar to Animation Blueprint, only instead of animation it runs certain tasks. Which task will be launched depends on the conditions that we can edit. But I decided not to use this system in the game, I will write something similar but my own, just because it's more convenient for me, but generally it will be quite similar. So, let's start by writing two types of attacks for the crab. A short range strike, where the crab flies up to us and hits us with a sword, and a long range attack, where a crab fires a slashing projectile at us. By the way, this attack inspired us to make a separate class in our game. For those who don't know, classes in our game are these stickers that change your abilities or give you a buff and a debuff. This particular sticker looks like a crab and changes our one-shot katana attack to a piercing projectile like the one a crab has. By the way, this is probably my favorite class now, it's very nice to play. And you can also try it, because the demo is already on Steam and you can play it absolutely for free. The only thing is that you will have to unlock the stickers first, but you can probably do it in 1 or 2 runs. The other classes are not less interesting, so I'd encourage you to try them all. If you are interested in watching a video about how we made these classes, write a comment and I will surely make a video like that. But let's get back to the crab. We made 2 attacks and we will definitely add a simple condition to them, so that the attacks cannot be launched while they are already in action. Let's just create a boolean variable called canAttack. If you don't know, a boolean variable can have only 2 values, true or false. Initially it will have the value true. Next, before each attack, we're gonna check the value of this variable. If it's true, then we immediately change the value of this variable to false and launch the attack. When the attack ends, we return the value of the variable to true. With this technique you will never have a situation where your attack is launched multiple times at the same time, which reduces the risk of various bugs. Great! We have 2 attacks, now let's write a simple attack controller for them. Its logic is extremely simple. It's a timer that checks different conditions every 0.05 seconds. The first one is dead. Now when the enemy is dead, he can't attack us. The second is canAttack. Here everything is also clear, we already discussed this just a moment ago. But then it gets more interesting. There is a small function here called check if we can damage player. It actually works extremely simply. It just releases a line trace towards the player. If it hits the player, it means that there are no obstacles between the enemy and the player, and an attack can be made. Otherwise, the crab should continue to move towards the player until it has a line of sight with him. Actually, it worth mentioning now, in addition to attacks, the crab also has a simple logic to go to the player. In fact, this logic is running constantly and the crab is constantly going to the player, but during attacks, it sets the crab speed to 0, so that it stops moving and does not break the attack logic. In other words, the crab always goes to the player, but during an attack it stops to make that attack. But let's get back to our attack controller. If the crab and the player have eye contact, then it can attack. All that remains is to choose the type of attack, close or long. Here everything is fairly simple. I check if the distance between the crab and the player is not more than 2000 units, this is about 20 meters in the game world, and I also check if the difference in height between the enemy and the player is not more than 3 meters, because this attack would look strange if the crab could just jump into the air to any height. If the condition for a close attack are not met, then the condition for a long range attack is checked. It is as simple as possible, if the distance between the crab and the player is not more than 50 meters. And that's it. The system is quite simple, we just have 2 attacks with protection from simultaneous launch launches, we have a task of moving towards the player, which is performed when other tasks cannot be started, and a simple controller that switches all this. By the way, after I worked on the scrap and derived a scheme for reading the logic of the behavior of opponents for myself, I quickly rewrote the logic of the enemies in the first arena. It now works on the same principle, and now the opponents have become much smarter. To be honest, I have never seen anyone write the behavior of opponents using this specific method before, so in the video I decided to share my scheme, maybe it will be useful to someone. Well, now the final showcase of the crab. Let's start with the fact that the crab will not attack us until it sees us, so instead it will go to us, and if we try to hide, the crab will find us and kick our ass. If we are close to it, at about the same height, it attacks us with a close attack. If we are far from it, or this big height difference, then it shoots a long range attack. So, my final grade for this enemy is a solid 8 out of 10. He has a cool animations, 2 types of attacks, and just looks cool. I won't go into detail about the behavior of the other opponents any further, I'll just tell you about them briefly. But before that, subscribe to the channel and like the video. No, I know you forget later. So, our next planned opponent was a stingray. Our modeler also made a model for it and some animations. This is what the model looks like, this is what the flight animation looks like, yes, it will fly and not swim, and this is what the attack animation will look like. To start with, I wrote a simple flight logic so that it would fly along a certain trajectory. For now there are only 2 trajectories, but it will add more later for variety. Then I made it so that every once in a while he would stop and attack us. And you probably wondering, what's this bubble around it, right? Well, it's a water shield, it absorbs all the damage that we try to inflict on the stingray. But how can we kill it? We can notice that some bubbles are flying into it, and if we look where they coming from, we'll find a coral polyp that releases them. If we break the coral, the stingray's shield will disappear, but it will attack us much faster and more aggressively. I decided to do this so that players could not easily kill the stingray from afar, from a safe distance. Player will have to take a risk to get close to the enemy and break his shield. Overall, the enemy turned out to be tactically interesting and it looks cool, so I give him a solid 7 out of 10, still a little short of the crab. And the one for today is a shellfish. This is the first enemy in our game that can't move. It just spawns in one spot and starts throwing mines around itself. Its animations is pretty cool. The mines explode if we get too close to them. By the way, the sound of the enemies aren't here yet, so I think this will be a topic for the next video. Yes, we can also detonate their mines, and I especially remove the chain reaction, because if it was there, then we would instantly kill all nearby enemies by hitting one mine. And if you didn't know, in our game, if you shoot the enemies' bombs, they will damage your enemies and won't damage you. For example, this works with eagles from the first arena. Yes, these are eagles, don't ask. Overall, the enemy turned out cool, but because it doesn't move, it's a 7 out of 10. And now that I've made all enemies, it's time to connect them to Enemy Manager, my enemy distribution system. Fortunately, I don't need to write it again, since it was already written for the first arena. Now all that's left is to set up the spawn points and launch the game. By the way, I specifically set up the spawn points for the shellfish so that they would scatter these mines in the most unpleasant and inconspicuous places on the map. Now let's launch the game and try to see how it plays. And immediately several problems pop up. The first is that the damage isn't balanced. That's simple, we just need to play test it and come to the optimal values. The second is the problem of the arena itself. Now there are only 2 entrances to the upper layer, and if you fall from there, it will be difficult to get back up. We are going to solve this by adding jump pads that will throw us to the upper layer, and to see how we implement this, subscribe to our channel and join our Discord community. I usually post all the new videos there. Of course, this is not the end of enemy development, and they will still be improved visually and they will also have sounds, but as a basic it is already cool. I worked very hard on this video, so like and comment which enemy you liked the most. Adios!